I prefer really not to speak. If I speak, I am in big trouble. In big trouble. And I don't want to be in big trouble.
Turn me up, kids.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to episode 4, season 3 If I Speak podcast. I have a very special guest in the building, and this is one of them episodes where I'm really in my bag because it's something that I know, and I've told you already before. Football is my life, you know, and obviously I want to talk to someone here. And the reason I'm doing this is because obviously there's a lot of young ballers that are playing that want to know what it's like to play football in England and stuff, because that's where like the aspiration is. So I have a person here that has a lot of experience. I think 14 years you were there?
Yeah,
14 years he was in England, so we played the same age group. We played with each other at DDSL. We had a bit of back and forth earlier about our rivalry, which we'll touch on a little bit. But yeah, without further ado, I want to introduce my guest, Mr. Johnny O'Sullivan. What's the story, brother?
Yeah,
how are you?
Yeah, good, eh?
Ready, yeah? Nervous?
Yeah, a little nervous. I can't lie.
Before we'll warm you up, obviously, I have like little icebreaker questions and all that. Before all that though, how are you in general and stuff, and being back home and stuff? How are you? How's things?
Yeah, I'm good. It's like you said, I've been away for 13 years, so it's a bit of a change. Quite a quick decision to come home. Obviously, I just had a baby recently, baby Axel. And as soon as you have a baby, you know yourself, you need hopefully some family around you. And obviously, there was a conversation me and the missus had, and we wanted to move home. And like I said, I'm loving being back. It's different. Obviously, all your mates and all again. Like I haven't hung around with them since I was a kid. But now I'm delighted to be back, and it's a new adventure here back at home, and it's good to be back around where I grew up, and you know what I mean. You never forget it when you move away.
100%. And I have little. When we go into it properly, I'm going to ask you that question again. We'll revisit this, like obviously being a father and stuff, and your decision to come home. But like I said, with the icebreaker questions, I like to have a section of the show I call "What's the Gig?" So that's what's the story, all right? Yeah. So that is basically what a topic that went on during the week, and then we can just obviously break with that. So we talked. Yeah. I think you know what I'm going to ask you. So I want to start off with Sky Sports News. These guys here, during the week, the girls qualified for the Women's International World Cup, and you know, one of the girls, forgot her name, and I do apologise, but she was forced to apologise for obviously the girls singing IRA songs and what have you. I don't like the way Sky Sports did that, because the way they were like asking her, so are you going to apologise, and you know, asking about, do you need to be more educated on the subject and stuff. So before I get into it, what's your opinion on what went on during the week?
It's mad, because like you said, we kind of spoke a little bit on it.
Yeah.
And because I watched that interview live. Yeah. I remember watching it, and I just felt angry.
Yeah.
I felt that, I can't remember the name either who it was, but I felt that she wasn't really meaning what she was saying. It was kind of that she was told, listen, you're going to have to go on and apologise here, even if you don't mean it. Because when I watched it, the presenter, the person asking
Rob Watson.
Is that his name?
That's
yeah, so I knew you'd know his name.
Yeah,
he was the only one I could see that needed educating, if I'm being honest. And I have a bit of personal experience with that, with living in England. And the only thing I will say is that they are not educated on our history whatsoever in England. They don't know. See the way we're taught in school, all our history of what they did, of what happened to our country, that they don't know about it. They obviously want to sweep it under the rug, and when it suits to call us out on Sky Sports News, they jump on every chance on it. And like I said, everyone's always told in England as a footballer, you have to be careful what you say, but that's our history. They're our songs. We should be allowed to sing whatever we want. That's what looking back on it, when I was young, and all our family and friends, you'd sit around and you'd sing those songs. That's our history, and we have every right to sing whatever we want to sing. And for him to tell us that we need to be educated is a shambles, really.
It's an absolute shambles, because even me, I never really knew much about the trouble. As obviously, this is my adopted country, and I've been here for 25 years. And especially as I've grown it, I appreciate Ireland more. Because when I was young, obviously being racially abused and stuff, and you know, getting called this and that, you never really, I kind of had a hatred towards Ireland. But look, you can hear how I'm talking. I'm Irish. My daughter's here watching for the first time. She's Irish. My teachers are Irish. My teammates were Irish. So not everyone abused me. So with maturity, you grow up and you realise that's just ignorant people who are not educated. You know what I mean? But watching that and knowing about the history of Ireland, And this man asking this young lady that just having one of the biggest achievements of her career possibly, yeah. We haven't qualified for a tournament for God knows how long. And for you to stand there and ridicule her and embarrass her on live TV was a joke. Remember I said to you, and you said to me, say this on the podcast, I will say it on the podcast, it's like, I was sitting there and walking, I'm on phones, bro, so I shouldn't even be on my phone. But if I was white, I'd be red, bro. I was fuming. I was so angry. And like, if you go up there to the north, you're talking about education, there's a lot of people who aren't loyalists, yeah, that are reminded every day that the English took over. You go and see Union Jacks everywhere. You see they use the pound every. You know what I mean? Like, so what are you talking about education for? The girls that are winning the tournament, like you said, are singing a song. Get over it. Yeah. I'm gonna ask you a question, right? Do you feel like the FAI should do more to protect them girls?
100%.
Because I'm not gonna be ignorant and say she shouldn't have apologised because she probably has a club in England, whatever. But I think they should have had a spokesperson maybe from the FAI. Not get her up there and leave her vulnerable to do that. What do you think?
I can speak from both parts because I know what would have happened behind the scenes. It would have been, if we don't apologise for this, we might get kicked out of the World Cup. So in my mind, I'm watching and I know what's been said to her. Listen, let's just apologise, squash it. We're going for the World Cup. Let's not have a case against us to get kicked out. So she probably just sucked it up for the team and goes, no, I'll just do it and apologise, because that's what happens. Like, you know, she wouldn't have meant on that dressing room that apology at all, but they were made to do it. It's another example of the British media minimising Ireland's achievements. So, like you said, it's the first time a women's team, or when's the last time?
Tell them for the World Cup anyway. To tell them until the last time we qualified. Yeah. The last time we qualified for a tournament as a whole, men and women, was 2016. That was the Euros in France. Yeah. So it's a great achievement for them girls. And look, you make sense when you say that. So we're trying to dumb down the achievement by the way get up here.
It is. It's minimising. Yeah, and it's I don't understand why he didn't ask about the match and then touch on that. It was just straight. Do you want to say sorry for what you caused? Who did they cause offence to? In my opinion, who did they offend with that song?
Exactly. It's like even with the IRA situation, like if they look at it again, education, they were defending our country from you. Yeah. Like even though I don't want to get into the political side of things here, but the British they're the most. It's so hypocritical. You went around to every a lot of nations in this world and colonised, killed, took, stole everything. But you are the ones asking for apologies. For what? So for me being stubborn, you said earlier you're stubborn as well. I know me, I wouldn't have apologised anyways. Regardless, I wouldn't apologise. Even like, you know, James McLean, fair play to him. Every year when that poppy shit comes around, he doesn't wear it.
That's what I was going to say to him as well.
He gets vilified. My brother always says, like, and I'm going to ask you your opinion on this. There's not enough, like, say, like, you know, Irish footballers that come out and defend him. What's your opinion on this?
Funny enough, my partner said this to me years ago. So why aren't the Ireland team or the lads that he plays with coming out and defending him? But it's hard when you're in the game, because when you're a professional footballer and you want to play every week and you want to think and you bring backlash to you, that affects your opportunity in England. So we see it that way from the outside, but when I speak to her about it and I say, listen, I see both sides. He'll get fined, he might have other stuff going on in his life, doesn't want the drama. It's a hard situation to be in, because then you're getting all the smoke as well, which James McLean gets. Now, he sticks to his beliefs, and full credit to him, he's 100% right. He lived that life up there and he knows. So I just don't get why, especially in the UK with football, why if it doesn't suit what they're cheering for, why other people can't have their own personal views. Do you know what I mean? There's no, for me, problem with him not wanting to wear it for a valid reason, and he gets racially abused, or I don't know if it's racially or whatever you call it, when he gets peppered every week. Like, I've been at games and he just gets it all game, like from clubs I've been at, just slag him, and that's just normal over there. They always do that. They still see us over there as that I felt as just Irish people over there, you know, kind of like they're just there, like. So it's still like that over there, and it's still a lot of stuff going on in that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I feel for him, because I think he did come out and say, like, and I hear what he's saying, because sometimes that could anger black people, is like you're comparing like this to this, but I hear what he's saying is in the sense of like, I'm getting this abuse every single week.
Every week, yeah.
But like a black person will get abused, and it's just like, you know what I mean? But
yeah,
I'm
hard to say that.
Yeah, exactly. And from a point of view, like I said, I've been around decent Irish people all my life. I understand what he's saying. Do you get me? But it's, even like if you came out now and said something about a gay footballer,
that's what I mean.
Oh, do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
what about the abuse he's getting?
They're all wrong.
It's all wrong, exactly.
Yeah. But his is minimal.
But you move the goalposts because of that.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like it's ridiculous.
Because they're at fault for his. The problem is that what he's arguing for, like he's basically blaming them like that way. So they don't want to acknowledge. They don't want people to know what. That's back to my first point. They're not educated. They're not told about it because it looks bad on them. Do you know what I mean? So I can understand. Like, do you know what I mean? Why they don't want people to hear about him, they want to just shut him up kind of thing. But like I said, he's fair play to him, he sticks to his guns every year, and his partner, I believe, on Instagram, every social media gets battered all the time as well. Like,
which is absolutely disgraceful. Yeah. But boys and girls, that's the gig this week anyways. Again, congratulations to the Irish women's team for qualifying. I'm absolutely proud of you. I'm not going to sit here and say I'll watch every game. No. I follow them because Katie McCabe, which who I'd love to sit down as well with and chop it up with. She plays for Arsenal, my team, so that's why I follow them. I'm so proud. She's from Tala as well, local girl. So yeah, I'm proper proud of you and congratulations. Don't let them fools over there minimise your achievements. I'm not doing the country proud, so fair play to you. So yeah, look, we're gonna get into you now, Johnny. Is and how I start my conversation with footballers. I like to go from the very start. Alright, so just if you can rejig your memory a little bit and tell me your earliest memories of football. Like you remember the first time you started playing football, what academy you were at, and then we'll progress from there. So your earliest memories of football.
From a kid,
bro. From a kid. So who introduced you into football, and we go from there.
Well, football's always been big in my family. Always, even my mum, like she loved football, all the way through. But my first proper memory, the older you get, you can't really remember your childhood as much. But the first memory I could get is going down to Belleville. My mum just, like I said, I grew up in town, Summer Hill, and I was a bit wild. And my mum tells me this story, so I always relay it.
He's giving it the fees.
Is he? He's O'Connell's and all that.
Yeah, you know it.
Yeah, exactly. Someone said to her, why don't you just take him to football? He has all this energy, take him down. Like, took me down to Belleville, loved it, took to it like to be fair, I was shy, I can't lie, I was shy at football, but I had heart, and I just went down,
passion merchant,
charged around like a lunatic.
And
they put me on the B team because they already had the A team, and threw me on the B team, and like I said, I went every week. It was like Tuesday, Thursday night, bang, used to go down. My mum bring me down every day, like that I needed to go with the dog. It was just us two, she'd wait and watch, and then I just stuck with it. Started working hard, but I carried the ball with me everywhere I went, and I know everyone says they did. I literally did. Like, I was known around the flats where we were as a kid with the ball, like so. Just carried it with me. Any chance I got, just kicked off a wall, played with anyone I could out every day. You know, back in the day, you just play football on the streets till your ma would drag you in. Like, you wouldn't even eat. Like, you'd run in and put your head under the tap and get a drink of water. You know what I mean? So and then from then I just gradually worked up, got into the A team where Damien and Frank were the managers, Limo's there, Limo Dwyer's there, and I just stuck with it, like, and I loved every minute of it, and like I just loved working hard. I just loved going down. Like, I was never the best player at Belleville up until even now when I talk about it, even when I left, I never in my mind thought I was the best player, like, ever. I just used to look at who was I playing against, and I always thought that I could make my team win. That was just my mentality. And I know it was never about me in my mind. It was never, like, even now when I play, I know I'm going away from where it started. From a young lad, it was never about me as a footballer. It was always, I was happy if the team won. And that's the thing at Belleville, where it's when I was a kid, it was just great. It was free. It was that freedom where you could just express yourself. And I took to it like a duck in water, and like I said, I made great friends there. And then obviously from, you know how it goes from the DDSL teams, we beat you a couple of times, didn't we? No, I get to that. But it was a competitive league though. It was like, there was even to this day, there was no games I play now that were as feisty as the Crumlin Belleville days. Like, even with the parents killing each other like half time after the games, and that just installed in me my whole life, where I come from and my family background, we've had to fight for everything we have. You know that mentality. Like, I grew up with nothing. Like, I lived in a one-bed flat with just me and my ma in Summer Hill. Like, it was the size of this room. Like, and I've had to fight for everything I ever had. And like, going to Belleville gave me the structure with the fight I had to be able to focus into something, because I had no drive. Like, I was hanging around with the wrong people, and I mean, my man found the car stereo in the house one day, and like, you know, just that stuff, like, where you just your environment sucks you in, like, and those days at Belvoir just gave me that drive, and like, eventually I got on the DDSL team, and I got on the Irish team, and from then my hard work started paying off, and I started to get noticed on trials, as we all did. Went away to Forest, Villa, like loads of teams, Blackburn, and I hated it. I hated going the trials. Honest to God, I hated every minute of it. I hated being away from my ma at the time. He just had a brother, Sean was just born, and my stepdad was on the scene. I just hated being away. I remember going to Blackburn on trial, and I hated it. Like, honest to God, I was like, you went over another group of lads. I don't know if you ever went to Forest on that trial, and they just bun you out, like, all these over in a bundle, look at you like a sheep, and then go, yeah, you two can come back, you can come back. And it's the same as Blackburn. Now, I love the facilities, I love the hotels, the picked up, but just playing with a new team and all, new lads, like, obviously new environment, it wasn't really mad into it. And I remember I went on holidays with Liam O'Dwyer and his man to Santa Ponsa, and we played football with all the locals every day, and there was a fella there, 18-year-old, I can't remember his name, I think it was Connor, and he played for Blackburn. He actually played for Blackburn, and we sucked them in. They were all drinking and all to meet us the next day and have an Astro League. And got speaking to him. I was like, I was on trial at Blackburn, I hated it. And he was like, oh, you hated it? Why? I was like, oh, no one even showed me around or took the time. The vessel, I'd come back over and I'll help you out, kind of thing. Went back over and he just showed me around, like, showing me where I'd be and digs, and he was like, if you sign, I'll look after you. He was an Irish lad as well, so I shouldn't remember his name really, but he's still a coach there. Any time I see him, like, I say hello. Went over, and then eventually I ended up signing for Blackburn, and like I said, we're probably getting into him. I don't know what the gist is of this, but I'm rambling on a little bit.
No, you're like I said, I always say this, when guests, people always tell me, oh, your podcast's amazing, this, that and that. It's like, it's not me. I'm presenting the podcast, and it's people like you that are relaying your story, because I do this. There's a lot of people that do podcasts, they just do it because everyone's doing a fucking podcast now. There's a purpose behind what I'm doing this, because there's going to be young kids that are going to watch this, listen to these stories, and even it's interesting for me as well, because I never got a chance to go away like the way you did, and it's interesting for me looking at you saying you hated it, but which we're going to get into. And I've only ever been on one trial. I went to Birmingham City with me and Dara Rayner, and you know, I hear what you're saying, where they don't really look after you, really, because when we went over there, we were just thrown there. I went digs. I didn't go hotel. Me and him went digs, and you know, I went training. Did one day, just had a quick training session, whatever, played a game, and that was it. You know what I mean? Like, they're not showing you around. They're not like giving you, like, you know, prepping you up. And
100%.
if you do this, we're gonna more motivating. So, but it's not about me. It's about you. So, just to piggyback a little bit, so we'll go into, so obviously DDSL. Talk to me about them days. So, how did you? It's interesting you say that. The games that you played. Did you play championship?
Yeah, played championship.
How many games did you play championship?
I think 10 something.
Oh,
I was on the bench a lot, like.
Well, I see you played, I think
6, 7. I don't know.
I think you played 6 games for Blackburn.
Yeah, but I played in the cup as well. And like a bit. Yeah, it must have been 6.
Yeah, but
6 or 10.
What's interesting, and is because I remember when I talk to other people, like of other age groups, they talk about the players they play with. I'm just like, geez, that was a good age group. Then I look at my age group, yourself, James Cabinet, Dan Pawley, Shane Bourne, Noel Lanigan, Kevin Dem, so many of us, Lorcan, so many of us, Why do you think that our games were more competitive than you playing league football?
Because
that's mad.
It's not as in, like, mentally. I can just remember those feelings of losing to you was the worst feeling.
Yes.
Like, I can't. Your smug faces. Look at his smug face right now. Look at it. Walking off, laughing and doing a little huddle and your manager Stephen giving all that. And like, do you know what I mean? I just can't. It's one of those things where you ask me why, I can't explain it. Because we all were just kids, and to us that was just everything. You get older, you have kids that, like, I just recently had one, and they're like your kids, like, you're 1 now, and they're just their everything, like, and everything else is. That's a bonus. Oh, that's great. So the older you get, life gets in the way. But when you're young, that is just it. Like, that game, you look in the paper, crumbling next week. You're eating the pastas. Your dad's like ready to go like a fucking, you know what I mean? Extra training, like you know what I mean? There's no talk, like training serious now. You get out to training. If it's like someone else in the league, it's like we'll beat them because you're expected to kind of. No, that's a bit arrogant, but that's just the way it
No,
works.
that's what it is, bro. It's arrogance, but that's what it is. Cause do you know what's interesting as well? You talk about training, bro. I always think of this, because I think back now, right? Because the way I watch football, is I love listening to Carragher.
Yeah.
Never before he became so fucking biased and political. But
He's a good pundit though.
He is a good pundit, but I like listening to the tackle side. But it was none of that for us. We just possession game and home.
Yeah.
Why were we so? We're just naturally talented. Why were we so good?
It's the freedom again. It was just that feeling of freedom. We will never get back. And like this is where we'll probably get into it, but like I said, but when you move away and it's your job, and it's not that feeling. So like you always talk about football where it's that you remember that feeling and that love for it, whereas it doesn't go, but it becomes where that enjoyment doesn't matter anymore. So that feeling of a group of lads don't get paid, the whole week in school away from it just revolves around going down a park and playing against people like with 2 nets in it. Like that feeling, like that, we'll never get that back ever. No matter what, you can talk about like if you played for Arsenal and you won the Champions League run, that's a different feeling to what that was. That was like just pure joy. Like that was just unbiased. There was no end goal, as in like you weren't going to get a big bonus, you weren't going to sign for United if you beat each other. That was just a group of mates together wanting to hammer the other team because you hated them. And that for me was the reason why I love football. That was the love for me, where it was just no political side in it, none of the off-field stuff, none of the racial stuff, none of the money, none of the corruption. It was just football. And if you gave that to me every day, I'd do that for the rest of my life. Like you can't get that feeling. So that's when I talked about the competitive side, is that was just run off what's in here. It wasn't run off if we beat you, we're gonna, I know you'd win the league, but even when you already won the league and we played you you know what I mean, you still wouldn't want to lose. Do you know what I mean? So I just can't, when I talk about the competitive side and when we played, it's just that was for me was just the best feeling ever. Now I've had better, like good feelings as well, but that feeling was just, I'll never get that back.
See that feeling of you talking about losing against you, us,
It still makes me sick now. Honestly.
The one time you beat us,
twice.
No, you beat me with Cherry Orchard. That's when I left. That's when you beat me in the league game. But when you beat us in the cup, I remember Dean Smith playing out Smith. He scored the goal. I think it was 1-1. He scored the goal for you.
Then he went to goal.
Then he went to go for the penalties. I'll never forget that lose. That's the only game I ever lost for Crumlin. I know that feat, bro. It was sick. And you know what?
I still hurt you now a bit.
No, 100%. That's my only ever blemish. That's my only ever blemish. But I always, when I was coaching, I was telling lads, like sometimes you're coaching and they're not taking turns. I'm like, lads, enjoy this side of football, because like you're on a different spectrum where there's money involved, there's this, that, and that. When I went like Leinster Senior League, it's like the politics side of that is mental. Where the manager could be friends with some of the players. They have that couple of loyalties to them, and you know, I remember, bro. I went to Shamrock Rovers. I was playing on the reserves. It wasn't like under 19s or like that. I was on a reserve team. Obviously, I remember like you have match day squads now as well, where you might not be in the match day squad. You can train all week, but you're not going to be part of the 18 or whatever it is. I remember we went down to I think it was, we played Cove Ramblers, and it was I think that's Cork. Sorry for my geography if I'm wrong. I don't know where
it is Cork.
It is Cork, And I remember about 15 minutes. But so what happened was where first team players would drop down, they have to play because they're not getting their game. So they have to play. So I was on the bench for Paddy Cabinet. That was my competition. And I remember I was playing 15 minutes, getting home at midnight. I said, I'm not doing this anymore, because look at the fixture list. Derry, I have to go to Derry, I have to go here, I have to go here. I said, nah, I'm leaving. Do you get me? Like, so it's the mental side, all of it. But then I remember then dropping down as a senior, playing Saturday football. I'm thinking, I'm coming from Shamrock Rovers. Crumlin, not doing this and that. I'm just like, mentally as well. That's why I always tell kids, like, it's enjoy now, because when you grow up, like you said, football is not enjoyable. But let's get into your, no, before I even say that, talk to me about that DDSL team that we played with each other in. Candy Cup.
Unbelievable. Not that Candy Cup, right? I'll never let that go, right? I don't know if you remember the first game we played, right? I scored 2 goals. And do you remember someone cracked an egg off Dean Smith's head? Do you not remember that? So somebody, you know, we were in the two houses together, right? And because you don't even remember me, I was a bit mad.
No, I remember. Yeah. I remember everything about you.
Yeah,
I
was a bit wild,
yeah,
right? Because obviously I just got the blame. Usually it was me, right? This one time it wasn't. Dean the big baby fucking ran in, told with the egg still on his head, Martin, right?
Martin, the coach,
My man still never lets this go down. I don't. We hate Martin for ages. Now Martin's whatever, like he's gone on and done whatever. He was a nice bloke, with like whatever. He then dropped me. Like Arsenal were looking at me after that game. I remember that. I remember point blank. Someone telling me Arsenal coming the next game. Didn't play. I was at the second game. Might have been after the second game. I think I played the first 2 games. And like I always used to play every game. Right. Like every game. And then randomly I just didn't play. He didn't play me because I was like, well, I had them in the egg incident. The egg. Like, and I was running around going, who the fuck cracked the egg off his head? Like. And like, I remember,
I remember going back being a kid. No,
I never let that go either.
I don't remember that. I do remember you not playing because there was a few.
I didn't play in the final either. I just wasn't seeing again for the tournament.
You didn't play at all in the final?
I think, like, I did not play. I think I came on for like a minute.
Yeah, I came on for like 2 minutes.
Yeah, so because we hammered. Like, our team was too good. We would have won that with the team that didn't start. Like. And that's the way Martin got lucky with it, is that he could leave people out and we'd still win it.
Me, Shane, yourself.
Yeah, just win it, easy. Like, it was, that's no disrespect, but our age group was, like, I'm yet to see as good an age group as that was.
Do you reckon, so Robbie Brady's age group, they're 92, they're a year ahead of us.
Yeah.
So
I think they've done better, as in like they've gone on to better.
Yeah, because I always look at
as an age group, ours was better.
I always look at him and Jeff. Yeah, they came up through the ranks, went to England, and that's how for me is the dream. Like when people are going away, you go away, play your reserve, blah blah, get first team, and then go meet in the Irish team. That's to me is the dream.
Yeah, that is good.
But let's get into anyways now for you. So you talk about your trials. Yeah, what was your first ever time getting a trial? Who was the first team, and then what was that process like? And like from here to over there, in the sense, I mean, like when obviously they offer you the package of going away and then arriving there. So what's that like? Talk to me about that.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. Like, do you know what I mean? Like it's like I went on trials. Like I said, I didn't like them, and then I played with Ireland in the 15s. Like I was like. I didn't get that many trials because if you see me play, I did get, like, when I say not that many, like it was for anyone else it was a lot, but compared to like the Purdy's, like the other lads, they were just going everywhere. James Cabinet, United, and I was going like, how are they getting, like, what? Hello. But like I wasn't that. I know you said you played against me and I ripped you to shreds that second time we beat you. Yeah. But as I got to 15 there, I think Vinny Butler got me in the Ireland team, started playing me right wing, and Damon was like play right wing, and I just kicked on that season. I remember playing Kevin's at Fairview and I scored 2, and I just started to feel like I'm better than this now. I need to kick on, like, and that's where Blackburn happened. And I remember Blackburn offered.
What's the table there, bro?
Yeah, I was like getting excited.
Yeah, what's the table? Sorry.
Blackburn came in. I was like, right, I want to go Blackburn. Let's see what they offer. Someone, I think Villa were kind of. I think they might have turned me down, but just sending an email. Went over there like 10 times with I think Anthony Ford or someone else it was, and I think he sent an email saying no. I went to a few other ones, and Blackburn I wanted. Then after that second time, I was like, no, I like it there. The top Premier League club. I had a few Irish lads there at the time. I was like, Stephen Reid was there. He like said hello to me. Keith Andrews then came as well. So I was like, no, that's for me. That's the club. They have a good record of bringing through young lads. Then they offered me a deal, and it was. Do you remember when it used to be like 2-year pro?
2-year pro, yeah.
They offered me, I think it was 2 years scholar, 1 year pro. Like I was good money. Like it was like to me it was like I'm loaded. I'm no bills, like, this is me, I made it, like. Then my man was like, you know what, no, Rob Maloney got offered something from Blackburn, I think it was. My ma being my ma, would ask anyone anything. She rang Rob's dad and said, what did you get offered?
Him and Shane's wedding there a couple of years ago, yeah. Good lad.
Yeah, my ma still keeps in touch with Rob, like his dad, like, and like I do as well if I need any legal advice or whatever it is. So, he said he got offered 1 and a 2 pro with signing on fee, blah blah blah. Now they offered me signing on, but not that what he got.
He's a defender as well.
Yeah, but Rob was good though.
Rob was good. Rob was good. Remember,
he was insane.
I remember. I was going to ask you, right? The worst thing to play against was Joey's because they were so physical.
Oh my god,
they'd kick lumps out.
He just smashed it.
Like Hughie Douglas and him and Kevin Knight played for them, did he?
Yeah.
He was probably the only one that was real technical. Yeah,
they were a good team.
They were a good team, but
Yeah.
Rob just used to chat shit, man.
Yeah.
He was a bully. But then when we went DDSL, quiet. That was an
Yeah, no, yeah. Off the pitch, you just
like Rob, he gave me like Roy Keane vibes in his attitude. And, no, that's like, I remember I used to like, I made Rob laugh. And
Yeah.
I was a joker. Johnny
Yeah,
on
yeah.
the team. I used to just joke around. But making him laugh was like getting him on side.
yeah,
Kind of thing.
yeah.
You don't want him losing his head. He started punching people around. You know what I mean? Like,
so you had psycho killer vibes, but in a good way. In your
Yeah,
team,
yeah,
that is like he was our Terry Butcher. Or whatever.
yeah.
But in the Ireland team, it's unbelievable. Like,
Yeah.
like honest to God, he was.
He signed for Liverpool, was it?
Not Liverpool, yeah. But he was.
We're gonna get into all that people signing and coming
Yeah.
home. We're gonna, that's the one where I really want to talk because
Yeah.
it bugs the way for me. But go on, yeah.
What were we saying there?
You were talking about Rob's dad.
He told us what he got for it. So my man just like stepdad at the time was just rang. I think they spoke to Bobby Brady's dad as well. Spoke to him just saying like, listen, we didn't know what people got offered. Like we did not like that was like I was the highest paid like probably in the house. I can't know my stepdad. My mom definitely wasn't on. So like from our family, that's, do you know what I mean? Like
So you were the breadwinner.
yeah, basically. But no, like they didn't rely on me or anything. Like it was like just to us that was.
But that's
like,
at 15, is it?
15, like.
That's mental.
But like I went at 15, you're not supposed to go to 16.
Yeah.
They used to give me money like while I was there, hotels, unlimited flights to go home. And when I was doing my junior cert, I used to go to schools Monday to Wednesday, fly Wednesday night, train Thursday, Friday, play Saturday for Blackburns on the 16s, fly back for like 7 weeks. Because they said to me, we want to get him developing as quick as you can. When I look back now, that shouldn't have happened. The guy was too young. And this is a big thing for me in football that frustrates me, that kids go over too young. I know I'm getting off topic here, but fuck up their education. Fuck up their education. They don't make it and they're left with nothing. And for me, I was lucky enough where I made some of myself, but look at all the lads that didn't. They just didn't, like, they don't. I see it every week. Young lads get dragged from every country in the world. Like, it depends on what team there is. If it's City or not now, it's mad money, but they still get taken from anywhere. Give them money, give them the lights. They get to 18, 19, you're not good enough, and they'll just drop you like you're nothing. And that's a big thing that in football infuriates me. And I remember you touched on me before about homesickness and all, and it's a thing in football that needs to change, because you see all the kids' mental health, like how much, like football is the highest thing with gambling, drug addiction, and alcoholism in the world in sports. And there's a reason why that's in football, is because they take uneducated kids, working class families that don't know. They just see the money and they see the thing. Like I did when I was younger, I just seen 3-year deal, Blackburn, money. All we're ever taught as a young lad is you have to make it, get trials, go away. That's all I knew. Like school was just like, go to school, play for the school football team and then grow. But for me, there needs to be a reforming of. It's changed a bit in Ireland now because of Brexit. They can't go away as much till they're older. Where there needs to be something there where, and I can speak out about where if I could go back now, I would have stayed and done my leaving, even knowing what I know now in football. I would have put more time into my education, even though I made it as a footballer. I played 300 league games. I've played. Do you know what I mean? Like you said, I'm still making a good living out of it, but. After football now, I'm now chasing stuff that I'm going to do. I'm doing courses now and stuff for after football, because I wasn't taught at a young age that there's more important things than football. Even though it is your life and your dream, there was no one there for me, my family. Like my master regrets sending me now. She talks about it now. Wow. She hates it. She says it to me all the time. She doesn't even watch football anymore because what she knows behind the scenes. She just doesn't like it. She's like, I just hate football. She says to me all the time, just when you stop playing, like just your mental health, your life, the stress of it, all of it, like just you're not taught that as a young lad. You're just taught that Belvo days when you're playing and it's great and it's fun and it's, you know, it's all that exciting stuff, but it's not. It really isn't.
Let me piggyback, because I know, and this is what I said to you earlier. I was like, we can go, and obviously I have questions for you, but we can divert or whatever. And this is the one thing. I'm probably skipping ahead now. This is the one thing that I'm doing podcasts, right? I don't want always to be on you know, what we're hearing and we're just all about agreeing with each other and making each other's ass. We can have difference of opinion, because I do have a difference of opinion on this, and you know I respect you.
Yeah.
And my thing is this, yeah. So I look at, like, well, you say that, yeah. So I look at what bugs me about Irish lads, right, and this is just my opinion, yeah, is like you're going away. I think you're going away with privilege, yeah, in a sense. Like I know you grew up like you had things, you know what I mean? You lived it, like, you know what I mean? Like, but when I look at like Cesc Fabregas, who leaves Barcelona at 15, goes to my club, and he's able to overcome not speaking English.
Yeah.
He's able to overcome, like, obviously, what Aaron and I always say this, yeah, the homesickness thing, I know it's real. I've spoken to Dylan McGlade, I've spoken to you, Shane, I've spoken to lads, and I've heard about the homesickness, but it's like,
I didn't really get homesick now.
but that's some of the things that I hear. That's where some lads come home, where it's like, I'm hearing, I want to go home and party with my friends, I'm like, you know, I'm alone here, and I'm like, bro, football, although you're going through all that stress and blah, blah, and you're right about the education stuff, blah, blah, we'll touch on more on that, but football can give you an absolutely astronomical life.
But it can do the opposite. So I'm here voicing, you're right in what you're saying, and it's easy to voice that opinion, but no one's voicing the other side. Okay. So Cesc Fabregas is a great point, because he went on to have a great career. I'd love to know who went over with Cesc. Like, what other Spanish lads went over?
He did. So on his documentary, I watched it. He came over on his own. He was living on this.
No, I mean other players like.
So I think he lived with. There was another lad that was with Fran Merida. I think when Reyes came over, I think he lived with him. Reyes was obviously established.
So he had help. Like
he
that.
had help. Yeah. Right. So
I had help in England as well. I made a best mate I'm still best mates, and I just dropped him to the airport this morning. Coaches in America. Yeah. So what I did that other lads don't is that I made on the weekends. You know, on weekends when you're Irish and your family's not there, you just sit in digs. I know it sounds easy, right? But at 15. No,
it can't be.
No, but when you're 15 and you know, that's the age where girls, you're a bit of drinking, they're going to barcode, spin, you know, all that kind of, and you're sat there in a room and like, from Monday to Saturday, the match is over, bang. Like, I used to go to my mate's Reese's house, I was lucky to have him. His family, like, honest to God, they're still like my parents now. Like, keep in touch, he's my best mate, he's like, he came to America, it was my little man's christening the other day. And he was my outlet where I'm quite good at adapting, where, see the way I said Fabregas, that he had like Reyes or someone there. And I know your point on homesickness is, I know you just think of it as like...
It wrecks my head, bro.
It's your football career, but it's like, you're grabbing, there's loads of players that don't get it. So you have to weigh it up. There's players that do, there's players that don't. So in any walk of life, there's people that will happen to and it won't happen to. But until you've lived it, it's like the way you've probably... So if I asked you now, what you know now in life, if you went back to 15, how would you live now? Where would you be in your life?
Yeah.
So that's my point. Some people can't... I like to think I did. Now, I've been through struggles later on in life because of that stuff. Like, obviously we can get into it a little bit, but if I went back now and knew what I knew, I would have done it a bit different. But when you're young, you just don't know. You don't live right. You don't know what you know now. Like I said, if you could go back in life now and know what we know now, we'd all be a joke.
The one thing on that point, the one thing that I'd love to go back, because back in the day when I was playing, like, now, I was oncoming, I won all them titles, but I wasn't like the mainstay, I wasn't the main man, I wasn't the guy. One of the reasons why I wasn't, because like say you, Johnny, James, Shane, Dan Porty, I looked up to you. I just go there as a joke. I was a good player, wasn't as good as you, but if I had the mentality I have now, I always say to my daughter, she's here, and people can look at this any way they want, I don't give a shit. Any room you walk in, whether you're doing, she wants to be an actor, she's doing dancing, I always tell her, have that mentality of you're the best. There's no other way to look at things. Dylan McGlade says it all the time, when he steps out on the pitch, he's the best player. Like, he's the best player on his team, he's the best player on that pitch. I'm going to help my team win. It's on me, do you get me? It's going to have that Kobe mentality where, and I wish Irish lads had that arrogance as well. We're too humble. And the one person that wasn't humble, that talked the talk, was McGregor. Look at him now. Despite of all the other bullshit, it is what it is, whatever, but he made a life for himself. Do you get what I'm trying to say? So you do make a good point. If I could go back, I wish I had the mentality I had now where, you know, people chat shit on my name, and I used to just like, I'm not good enough, you know what I mean? Like, but now I just block it out.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean?
See, when I was younger...
No one's opinion, my own opinion, and I know probably you're not religious or that, but my own opinion and God, that's it. Do you get me? That's how I operate now. So if I could go back, that's the one thing, and I'll tell young people now, whether playing ball now or whatever you're doing, don't let anyone tell you, I know it's cliche, but don't be letting people like minimise what your potential is. You know what I mean? Like,
no, but that's even now if I went now and done something for the first time, like that's why I've probably been successful. I think I'm going to be amazing at it. Like I that mentality is 100% right, and you will not make it in football without that mentality, because all football is 90% tough times. But that's all it is.
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
90, I say it's even
you have more hard times than good.
No,
times.
it's 95 plus. Good. You have 5% of like the Arsenal players. How many good times have they had in the last 10 years? Honestly, no, but you're like this is what I mean. So like it's but mentally to live your
you're
life.
Arsenal as well, eh?
No, I'm United.
You're United.
The one at 2 o'clock as well. So you
Don't worry. Arsenal at 2 o'clock. I'm winning them.
No, but it's hard to live a life from 15 when 95% of your life is not shit, but it's like not winning and not like I gave my whole teenage years. I mean, I gave everything. I went out now and again, like, and I did have good times. I can't lie, but I gave my all at Blackburn, and I made a career in myself. But most of your career is just shy. Honestly, you're just trying to stay in it. You're trying to keep like a contract. It's a job. It's not just. It changes from enjoyment to I need to keep playing here. I need to get paid. I need a new club. I need a new thing, and then all that on your head from a young age takes its toll on you. It does, and there's no two ways about it. And I know people from the outside look in and go, even Graham Burke is for me one of the most talented players ever, and he still is. Like even in this league, I say he's for me on his days the best player in the league. Even at Belvo, I know we got better as we went on, but he goes away and he doesn't get the opportunity that he should have got and stuff, and he doesn't play every week. He's still for me one of the best players. Now, are you telling me that like he just goes over and he can't play football over there and he can't hack it? Like Graham's tough mentally, but he obviously doesn't see him over there, and it just doesn't work for some people. Like, and like for me in my life and like the way I've been brought up, I probably have a different mentality to Graham, where I'd be like, no, like, do you know what I mean? Like I get quite agitated. I wouldn't, do you know what I mean? I'd stick with it, and like Graham has as well. Like Graham's done unbelievable, and like I said, it's that mentality where to keep going, and Graham's done that as well. He came back, he went over, he came back, and he still made a great living for himself, and he's still an unbelievable player. And the two of us have always had that mindset, but it's different in England. It's hard to keep going. It's so hard. You don't have your family, you don't have your close friends, you don't have like that close knitness of good people around you. You live your life. You know that person where you tell them and they tell you to shut the fuck up, or they'd go, what are you talking about? Or they'd give you advice where you know none of what they're saying has any effect for them or anything. In England, you just kind of hang out with the lads. They go home. You know what I mean? There's no real closeness. Now, I made close people over there. That's why I think I stayed. But loads of lads don't. They go over, they just commit to the football, and they don't like put their life down in England. They don't commit to being there, and that's where people get homesick. I was
going to ask you that. Yeah, I was going to ask you one of the stuff, and I say this all the time. I know I said I wasn't going to mention names, but I'm going to mention names in the sense of like I'm not being a prick here. This does break my heart. Dan Purdy, yeah, I'm going to ask you later who's the best player you've played with, like England and DDSL, but he's the best player I've ever played. I've been lucky to play with very good players, but I remember Dan Purdy. I played with him for I think 2 years. I think he was captain of our DSL team, if I'm not mistaken, that we won the Kennedy Cup. He was a joke, bro. And he went West Ham, and I used to keep up with all yous, you know. I'd go on the internet, see how he's doing and all that. And even you popped up recently. You didn't, because I've had you on Instagram, but you only recently popped up. I was like, oh, Johnny remembers me. You know what I mean? Yeah,
because you always keep tabs, like, on Instagram and stuff.
So I seen that Dan coming home, and obviously he's been around that Cologne, Rovers and all. And now he's at fucking Newtown. No disrespect to Newtown, but I'm just like, I remember Dan Purdy, we went Mill Cup, yeah? And I remember we played Chelsea, and we beat our youth team 3-2. Do you remember that lad, Anton Rodgers?
Yeah.
Brendan Rodgers' son.
He played for our own team.
Yeah, he played for Northern or
our team, yeah.
Oh yeah, did he?
Yeah, with Qatar with us.
Yeah, so I remember he played that game, and I remember Shane was like, because I think there was a battle between them two for the centre mid position, and he was all going to show him who's the man here, you know. But we beat them, I think it was 4-2 we beat them, and I remember Dan scored a hat-trick, and his last goal was a free kick, like. Yeah. And I remember the Chelsea coaches were saying, like, God, none of you will get into our team, or just beat you, you know what I mean, like, whatever. But I remember thinking, he's going to go and win Ballon d'Or, he's going to do that, he's going to be Ireland captain. Then it just didn't work for him.
Yeah.
So my question to you is, like, there's a lot of lads that went over and they never came back, and you stayed for 14 years, and what you're alluding to is your mentality, which is good to see, and more Irish lads to have that, but what is it that Irish lads don't make it? Like, what do you think, in your opinion, is
honestly
what they don't make?
It's mentality, and like my mentality came from when I was a kid. Like you said, I had a lot of stuff going on. I had a lot of stuff family wise and dad stuff.
So you had a purpose going over this one?
Yeah, so I from a kid, I'm not saying they didn't, but for me, everything I do, and like even in life, I always had that edge about me where it's like, no, I'm gonna, do you know what I mean? I'm gonna do this. No one's telling me otherwise. You like, even say now from League of Ireland where I'm playing, like I'm injured, I only come back a few months. My mind goes to no, this, I'll get this right. No one's proving me wrong. Do you know what I mean? As in, like, I'll get fit, I'll get strong, and everyone will shut their mouths kind of way. Do you know what I mean? That mentality. But honestly, a lot of football in England is just luck. It's just luck. I remember John Coleman, he's the Accrington manager, he's been the longest serving manager in the country. He says to me, 90% of football is luck. Even matches. He says you have the referees, you have linos, you have the other team you can't control, you have injuries, you have red cards, you have things. There's so much stuff in football you cannot control. So Purdy might have been at West Ham where they had, I don't know what, he played up front. They might have had loads of forwards. They might have had a manager there that plays a certain way that Crumley didn't play, didn't suit him. Might have played a few games, didn't like him, just got rid of him, had the next one up. There's so many variables in England that are not in Ireland that Crumlin, he plays shit for 10 games. He plays.
No, he's playing.
Yeah.
What?
In England.
He's playing.
No, but in England, that's not the case. You play bad for 2 games, you're out for 20 if they win. And if you can't accept that and stick with it and go, like when I don't play in England, or even now in Ireland, I'm pulling the manager every day. I'm like, honestly, I'm like, the manager, the manager at Morecambe, right? I remember one day, the lads, they in the team, and we went off, doing shape, and I'm just walking around, and just, you know what I mean, just walking, and it seemed to come up, the lads used to laugh, going, look at John, I'm pulling the gaffer here, he's pulling the gaffer, like I pulled him the week before, and the lads won, and the manager's like, can I pull you? He just went, no, and I went, what do you mean, no? He went, no, you pull me every week. I was like, yeah, I'm gonna keep pulling you until I play. And then eventually that season I played, we ended up getting promoted, we won at Wembley, I dived at the cup final at Wembley, as people would say, well I didn't, it was a pen. But there's so much luck in football that it's crazy. Like, especially as a young lad, like I went on loan at 17 to Southport, right, randomly.
I've seen that when I was doing my research.
And I done unbelievable. John Coleman was the manager. He then, the next season, got the Accrington job in the league above. Rang me, you're coming straight to Accrington. Unbelievable again. Like, but loads of lads don't go along, they stay in the academy, they don't. Where I went, I had good advice from Gary Bowyer and Terry McPhillips at Blackburn. You cannot get the experience as men's football. So I went down and played as 17 and I got battered. But I got up, you know what I mean, scored goals, I started ripping it up, and then that experience then, when I went back into Blackburn, I felt like a man. Like I started training the first team, and then usually you'd walk in the dressing room, you'd be like a sheep. And I was like, no, shut the fuck up. Like, I'm taking your spot. You know that?
Yeah.
But I didn't feel that way as a kid, but when I came back, I did. And now, to be fair, like, there's loads of stuff happened at Blackburn. We had like 20 managers in like 4 years, and every time I had to try and prove myself. But I should have played more there. At 21, I was, and 20, I remember Barnsley tried buying me for, I don't know, like 250 grand, $500,000. Like, I went on loan there and done unbelievable. So I done what the footballers should do. I went to the conference, went League 2, I went League 1, and then after the Barnsley loan, Blackburn pulled me back. They wouldn't sell me, gave me a new deal, 3-year deal on good money, and I sat in my arse for 3 years. Not sat in my arse, but the club had me on a hold where
death row contract,
not a death row one, because I was on the bench, but our team at the time was unbelievable. We had Jordan Rhodes, Gusted, Tom Carney, Conway, Tom Lawrence. Like, our starting team was so good at the time where I was good enough to play, but it was easy to leave me out because I was a kid. They always seen me as the 15-year-old, you know, that come through. So I stayed there for a year, didn't play, and it kind of stumped my growth as a footballer. So that's when I go back to the luck of playing with players that I met John Coleman and he gave me a chance. Then he got another job, he took me again, and I played for them 3 times now.
No, I was going to touch on that. I was going to touch on that. So just before I do, Blackburn, you mentioned a couple of players there, yeah. So what was it like? Give me someone like when you first went there. Yeah, did you train with the first team a lot?
Yeah.
Name me some of the names who you saw like that we'd see on Match of the Day and all that you trained with.
Well, I'll finish story for you because Sam Allardyce.
Yeah, Sam Allardyce, yeah.
And he used to bring up the under 18s to do the shape with the first team, right? Because he wanted us to be around. So, do you remember Chris Samba?
Yes.
We're doing shapes, right? Yes. I'm like, first time the first team. I'm playing, I think, someone the next day, big game first team, smashed him, like clean through him. Like I'm thinking, you know, as you thought as a young lad, right? You get a chance to train with the first team, smash someone, straight through him. I was like I shot the Pope. Honest to God, it was
well, he
like
was a big player for them at the time.
And it was like they were all running around. What the fuck? Who the fuck is this? What's going on? Stood there like straight from in town, like stood there. What? Who wants it? Like, you know that attitude, where like, and then I smashed them, and then it was like, oh no, what have I done? I'm never going to train with him again. Now, to be fair, they loved that after because he wasn't injured, but I just remember like that, like smashing him. But like when I went down, they had the Kubu, you had.
Oh, you played with the Yak?
Yeah, unbelievable. The heaviest man on earth. Honestly,
you ever see that video?
He just doesn't run.
You ever see that video on tour where he's just standing still, he's not walking, he's just walking around?
No, honest to God, the best.
Some finisher.
There's no. If you gave him a ball here and put it there, it's a goal, like. But he's never done
it. Was Dan Pedersen there when you were there?
Yeah, I was gonna. You might be in my 11.
Okay.
But Pedersen wasn't technically unbelievable, right? But he was just so fit. He completed the bleed test every pre-season.
He's from Norway.
Yeah, Norway.
Them there.
Norway. Yeah.
No, I think it's Norway.
Norway, yeah.
Norway or Denmark, one of them.
No, it's Norway. Yeah.
Them Scandinavians, bro, they're fit, bro.
No, complete the bleed test and he just walked off. I'm on level 10, like.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Pushing myself, but no, he was a great professional. Even now, I remember seeing him a few years ago and I have him on Instagram now. He'd always make an effort with the young lads. You know, that proper pro where he'd never make you feel awkward or anything like that. But no, there was some big players, like there was Stephen Reid, Irish international, like there was some good players.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask you. That's the sort of question I always ask footballers, especially when they're away. Who was the one that really, like, you know, talked to you?
I can tell you someone, but they're in my 11. I thought you
whoever.
Stephen Nzonzi.
See, who put their arm around you?
Oh, my arm around.
Yeah, put their arm around you and like, gave you advice and like trying to, like, you know, show you how a good pro supposed to act and give you the pathway to be a first team.
To be fair, Blackburn was really good for that. Like their program, as like their academy is unbelievable. Like their setup is a joke. But kind of had that myself. I kind of just been into it, like, you know, like I just kind of just. Like dove my head straight first into it, and I just like bit with how everything worked, and I looked at the older lads, how they were living and stuff, and how it was. But the one that kind of helped me probably would have been David Dunn. Now he's played.
I remember him. He played for Birmingham as well.
Quality
player.
Yeah, quality player. He was like
sick.
You can see why. Sick. But he was quite heavy.
Yeah, he was. But they're the ones that are taking.
But he was quite shredded though. He just looked quite big. But he was. Funny enough, I'm not going to tell what happened next now. I've spoken to an old physio that's seen him and said that he's looking a bit heavy. Like, I'm not going to say what he said, but he was. I always kind of felt that at Blackburn, I was seen as kind of like a bit like Dunny as a player, as in that kind of, not as technical. Obviously, he was a joke, but I always kind of felt that he seen me as like the next one to kind of take over from him in that number 10 kind of position, that because I kind of played midfield. When I went to Blackburn, I played midfield a lot, so I always felt that way. And like even he lived locally, lived near the training ground, and I always felt like when he got the Oldham job, he tried taking me on loan straight away, and like I kind of had a good relationship with him. So there was loads of good lads there. There was like Grant Hanley, who played Prem and stuff. There was loads of good lads there. Like Aaron Dorn was there when I first went, and Gav Gunnan, who was a madman, but he's a great lad. So they kind of helped me. It was just a collective. There wasn't any one individual where it was more my best mate Reese, like, who wasn't a senior player, but he gave me that home away from home kind of thing.
So, a question I want to ask you as well before we progress into your league football. So you're over at Blackburn at 15. I want to know about a day in the life. I used to always think, so you go. So what plays into the mental side of it? Like you were talking about earlier, why lads probably will come home and stuff. So you'll train in the mornings.
Yeah.
What time do you enter training and what time are you finishing and what is your day like?
Is this from a 15 or?
From 15, yeah.
Oh, yeah, so 15 was a bit weird for me. It wasn't the normal one. It was because the 15s used to train in the evenings.
Okay.
Because I used to be at school, but I used to train with the 16s or the 18s in the day. So you'd wake up, breakfast, 8 a.m. Gym work, prehab, straight on the pitch, 10 o'clock, fly out, 10 o'clock, in, lunch, train again if you don't have a match, double session. It's just your standard stuff, like, but the facilities and the coaching is just like next level. Like, we had a really good coaches, like I said, Gary Bowie was there, and he's a football, he's done well in the leagues and stuff, so we had good coaching and good management. But it's just straightforward. It's what everyone else does. It's like Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, train and play Saturday. You know, it's not anything that you wouldn't, like Man City, we do the same, bit of video on a Friday, video after your games, but it's the intensity of the training and who you're training with. Like, I used to get bumped up because I was quite, I don't know if you remember me playing physical to the 18s all the time. Me and Reece, because we lived on digs when we shouldn't have, we got to train with the 18s a lot. So I think that's another reason why physically and mentally we lived in digs with the 18s as 15-year-olds, you know, so we had to grow up quicker than everyone else. I remember I used to go train with the 15s. I used to be like, oh, this, get off me, like, you know, like, this is, our 16s team won every game apart from we lost to Liverpool. So you never forget your results, do you?
No.
We won every game that season. We were unbelievable, honest to God. Like, we were, that team was, so I went from Belleville winning to straight into that team, which was probably the second most enjoyable. Then we progressed to the 18s and we ended up getting to the final of the U Cup. We had a great team and all, and then Blackburn was in a really bad place with the takeover and all, where they should have progressed.
When them chicken lads took over, was it?
Yeah, when the Venkies came in, yeah.
Venkies, that's what it was, yeah.
But they started swinging all these Portuguese lads. If Blackburn would have just progressed our youth team, I honestly think this, to the first team at that time, I think they wouldn't have fell to where they fell. Because Dara ended up staying. I left, we all got off. Jack went to Sheffield United, I left, I went to Carlisle. I went to loads of other places, and then he stayed. He eventually got in then in the end, and he's had a great career and he's a great lad. But at the day in the life of football, it's just boring. It's really boring. It's repetitive. Like, I used to go on we had a big indoor where our digs was, and me and Reece used to go in every evening and play long shots every evening because we had nothing else to do. Like, had a basketball net and all, table tennis, best table tennis player I ever meet. Like, just that, football, long shots every night. That was it.
We'll get into it now with your league career, but before I do that, I seen when I was doing the research into you, you've been at a few clubs. You've been at a few clubs, which shows me, like, obviously you didn't settle really at any of these clubs. Where obviously Accrington you were at 3 times, you had three spells with them, and you recently just left them. But you talked about something earlier where you said about football becomes a job now, and you're fighting for contracts and obviously looking to get paid and so blah blah. Talk to me about what, like, you know. And I remember when we were talking, you were like, it's not all it's made out to be. So why were you not stable at some of these clubs?
Well, Blackburn, I was there for 7, 8 years, and then 2 years at Carlisle. No, I spent 2 years at most, but I stayed up north a lot. A lot of those clubs were loans from Blackburn. So when you look at them, I was always settled at Blackburn, but I think 5 or 6 of them were loans. So in England, they pick your own move. I remember I went to Barnsley, ripped it up. Lee Johnson wanted me back, and I was told I'm going to Rochdale. I was just told. I was like, I don't want to go to Rochdale. Like, well, we agreed it, you're going. So if I knew what I knew now, I would have said, fuck off. I'm not going. I'm staying here, I'm going there. But as a young lad, you just go, it's down the road, I'll just play games. And that was fucking awful long move. And then
why was it an awful long move?
Just, I didn't want to be there. I ended up getting sent off twice, and I just didn't want, you know, when you had that feeling. Now, it didn't affect my training or anything. Like, you know, it's hard to be somewhere you don't want to be, and I think that I stayed a month. I ended up going to Bury to the end of the year, which I enjoyed, and mentally I was just in a weird spot in my head where
Blackburn, sorry for coming across you, but when you're saying it's a weird spot, is it like you're going through all these loans, and like I don't know.
Blackburn wouldn't tell me.
I don't want to do this anymore. Yeah.
And I remember sitting down with Gaz before the window closed, and I said, I want to go, just let me go, like, why you keep me here? And then what I found out in the end, it ended up being like the owner, the Venkies wouldn't let me go. They loved me. They just loved me. I don't know what it was, they loved me, and they heard such good things. They go on the Twitter and all, and at that age everyone was raving about me. Barnsley bid and blah blah. I went to Barnsley, didn't lose a game. I remember playing Preston the game before. They were like top of the league before I came back to Blackburn, and I got man of the match, best man on the pitch, and there was clubs looking at me. And I went back to Blackburn, they just wouldn't let me go, and then I don't know, I started going out more, I started gambling a little bit, you know, just bored. didn't want to be there, and like I fell in that hole for a couple of years where I kind of just took my foot off the gas. Went to Carlow, got a really bad injury in my hip, like a really bad one, had to get an op, and I was sat in my arse for months just at home, like couldn't train around, so I was just at home, just doing nothing, like just bored out of my head. And mentally watching, when football's annoying when you're playing it, but when it's taken away from you, when it's not your choice, it's really hard, like you know yourself. So when I got injured then, I got a bit unfit, came back the next season, wasn't really at it. And then I remember going to Blackpool, signed for Gaz again. He was my academy at manager at Blackpool. I was like, I got back to him, like, do you know what I mean? He get me going. He left after one game. Literally just left. And what annoyed me the most is that Terry, who was his assistant, was my coach at Blackpool as well. He got the job, but it was his first job, right? And we had a lot of senior lads where he was under a lot of pressure, and the club was on it. Blackpool, that Oyston was in charge, lived in a penthouse in the corner of the pitch, just living chaos, drinking every day out. Just, you know what I mean? We had no money for hotels and all. The club was on its. He wanted to sell it, but he wouldn't sell it. There was like court cases, and Terry wouldn't play me. Neither. He put me in, put me out. We were swapping the team, and then this is where the mental side comes in, where you're going through this now. Am I gonna? You can hear it in my voice. I can relive it. I can feel the feeling. It's tough, man. And then Sarah just moved over to us, and deadline day, Dundee, Scottish Premier League, want you on loan. Do you want to go? She's like just started a job 10 minutes from where we were living. I was like, I have to go. Like I can't stay here and not play. Went up. Lovely place and all. I actually enjoyed my football there. The manager invested a bit of time, got me really fit, because when I went there I was unfit, like, do you know what I mean? So got me fit in the gym every day, started playing, went away that summer. Morecambe came in for me, Jim Bentley, what a man, by the way, like what a manager. You know, one of these people that, I remember what sold it to me, like they were, right, when I went there, they were the probably favourites to go down in League Two that season. I had other clubs, like, and I remember speaking to him, he was like, you need a season, you had a stop-start season where you just play every week and you get going again and you play and you play and you play. And he took me in, and he was one of those people where family first, you know, one of those where he rang him, he goes, I need a week off, family, Bally, no problem, see you Thursday, no questions asked. And the players would play for him. And went in there 6 months, and I never knew this, like, he was under a bit of pressure before I went, hence why he wanted to get good players in. And he left, he got offered a good deal at Foyle, they were like conference, but they were paying mad money, and he just left. And I was like, oh, it's happened again. Like, we got Derek Adams in, who is an army soldier. He is army, man. He's like, football's his life apparently. Has no wife or kids, I heard, and he watches football all day, every day. He's, do you know what I mean? And I was like, he's going to hate me. I'm a bit of Jack the Lad. I was like, this has been done. I've got 2 years left on here. I was just, you know what I mean? How do I get out of this? And he came in, right? And I remember halfway through that season, I had stuff going on, personal wise, myself and family. And I asked him, I remember this was the turning point in my last few years where, and I've never told anyone this now really, and obviously get me talking because it's good to hear. And I meant to see him, and I spoke, it's good for other lads to hear, and I spoke to me missus. I was going through a bit of a bad spot in my head, and spoke to me ma, and I went to him and I said, can I just have a bit of time off? Like, I'm in a bad spot here, a bit mentally, like, just nothing too, like, bad,
too heavy,
but like, I'm just, I've been in a pressure cooker for so long, can I just, and he looked at me and he went, you take as much time as you need. And he's not a social guy, you know, he's not one of the managers where he'd slag. He went, yeah, I was like, I just need to go home for a couple of weeks. I went home, didn't even ring me when I was home. He sent me a text going, everything okay? I just remember going, yeah, thanks, and I'll try and get back in when I can, because you know you're worried. And nothing was said. I had like a month, I think it was a month, like a full month at home.
So the club's still paying you?
Yeah. Okay. Nothing was said. I don't even, like, they don't even know that, like, at the club now. This is just me being honest with you.
Yeah.
Because sometimes in football, it's frowned upon to ask for that. And you can't ask, they'll laugh at you.
Because of the money on and stuff.
Yeah, and it's kind of, if the fans hear it and like they're not winning, he's at home, we're paying him and blah blah blah. But like sometimes you need to reflect on yourself and go, I'm not right at the minute. I just need just a little, do you know what I mean? Just a little. The manager left there again. I was like, oh, it keeps happening. It's like a rinse repeat thing here. And I went home for a few weeks. Me and the missus, we went to Clissamore and all, just like a couple of days. I literally just sat with the family, just being with her family. And I remember going, I want to go back now. I miss it. I miss training. Like, I miss a bit of structure. I miss, do you know what I mean? I just woke up one morning and was like, we just go back. Like, I'm ready. And I went back, texting going, rang him going, am I alright to come back in? He said, yeah, of course, yeah, come back in. And he never mentioned it again. He never mentioned it. He didn't even ask me how I was, which sounds a bit thing. I think he just watched me, and I remember I went back that week, and I swear to God, I was like the best I've ever trained, ever. Like, ever. He started me that week. I think we played Port Vale, put me in, and he put me Friday. He put me, and he was like, the assistant was like, he has to start, he has to play. Like,
because of your training,
they lost a couple of games, and I came in and I had a new lease of life, and it was like, you know, that old, like, and he gave, like, I had that respect for him then when I went. I wasn't sure about him, he was a bit of an arsehole, that's what I thought. Arsehole, just went he's not going to like me. And I had that bit of respect for him. I went, you know what, he's a good guy, he's a good person. He never mentioned it again, and then I played, season ended. I had that then, I said, I get to the end of the season, decide what I want to do. And I got to the end of the season, and I spoke to the missus, and I go, I'm going to give it one more year. I said, I'm going to go back for one more year. I said, we just go for one more year, I'm going to give it everything. They're favourites to go down, like, do you know what I mean? I'll enjoy the year, but I'm going to give everything I have for Morecambe next year. Like, I'm not going to go out, I'm not going to let the losses affect me, I'm not going to do this. And I went back this season, he had an unbelievable group. He built a group of lads where it was just, you know, when he went in every day and it was just like, we had that togetherness, and it was like, everyone's writing us off. We ended up winning when we were up near the playoffs. We were like top for a while. Everyone was going, they're going to fall off, they're going to fall off, they're going to fall off. And we were in South going, fuck them, sending the messages in the group going, we'll see. And then we ended up getting to the end of the year, and we had a game to go automatic promotion, right? And Bolton cheated us the week before. They beat us 1-0. If we beat them, we would have, someone dove, we had 10 men, they cheated, whatever. They went up. We missed out last day, and it was just depressing, right? But we were in the playoffs. And I remember just, I got injured. It killed me. I was having the best season ever. Like, I was flying. I was playing every week. I was playing, like, I had that new lease of life. I had goals, assists. I was like playing midfield. I was playing right wing. He was like, he built the team around me and the winger where we press, and I was the fittest I've ever been pre-season. He has these runs where if you don't complete, you don't play. And it doesn't matter what time you got, just get through it.
Yeah.
He wanted to just see, like, I remember
that's that military mentality.
I was walking, and like there was lads getting sick, and I was like, just walk, crawl, like, just, I remember, like, I was finished, and I'm not the fittest lad in that sense, but when I play, I'm quite fit. And I remember at the end of that pre-season, we had that, like, fuck me, we got through with this, lads. And then we ended up being in the playoffs. We were like 10-1 in the playoffs. We had Tranmere, we had Newport, and someone else in the playoffs. And we were the least favourites, even though we were the highest ones. And I was like, they're writing us off again. Like, Tranmere, 2 legs, everyone was going, they'll blitz us. We ended up beating them. I didn't play. And I had a hamstring injury where I wasn't supposed to play till the following season. I had a grade 3 hammy, where that's like you're done. And I remember Derek Adams had this thing where if you were injured after the training in the afternoons, you had to go to the gym. And I was by myself every day for the last 2 months of the season. And I remember going, if we get to Wembley, I'm playing. Like, you know, in life you just have that feeling where you have a part to play in something. I cannot explain it. You know, when you just, you know. Yeah. And I kept telling him to say it, and everyone was laughing at me. Even the physio, I was like, get to Wembley, I'm playing. And he goes, sure, you're not playing.
That was a great treat.
And I was walking around the training, and I goes, lads, get to Wembley, I'll help us out. You know, just that banter where, and I manifested it, and and I went that gym every day by myself. And to be fair, fitness coach there every day with me. Bang. And I ended up sucking in a little crew with Baz, the goalkeeping coach, he's an Irish lad, Barry Roach. I ended up having my own little staff crew where we do core, and I made it into my own little environment kind of thing. And there was another lad, Gibbo, who got injured, but he came back for the playoffs, and he can be a bit lazy. And I remember like peppering him, going, like, you have the chance to play in the playoffs. And every day when he tried to sack it off, the fitness coach was laughing because he was like, I don't need to do my job, John's getting him in the gym for me. He used to drag him in and go, come on, like, he ended up being, honest to God, probably our best player as well in, you know, the both legs. And remember the day before, I didn't train, so from March, I think it was, and the playoff final was the end of May, I didn't have a training as in like with the team until the game was on the Monday. I trained on the Saturday with the lads, but didn't do all of it. And on the Sunday, I hadn't sprinted at this point full blank, and I went, oh fuck it, like fuck that hammy. If it goes, it goes. I was out of contract at the end of the year. I know how, like, and what, like, people are telling me like, if that goes again, you're going to be out of contract, you won't get a job. But my mind from the start of the year was, I'm giving it another year.
Yeah, giving it another year.
Another year. I didn't give a fuck. I was like, I'll go home, I'll work, I'll play wherever, I'll fight for a club, I'll do whatever. And I trained that day, and I remember like running past someone, and I just first time I sprint, and like I ran past him like he was like a bag of cement. You know that like stride where you just give it everything. Yeah. And after, I didn't want to let him know I was fucked, but I was walking back breathing like that hurt my chest a little bit. And he didn't name the bench until the day before, and I felt shit from one of the lads because he rang. We came down to breakfast. I woke up at 4 in the morning, 5 in the morning, 6, because he didn't tell me anything. He said, he called me the next morning, he goes, I've slept on this and I'm going to put you on the bench. I just have, I think he got, because he used to come back to the ground every day from training as well. So what he said went as well. So he's seen me every day in that gym. And every time he walked past, I'd be like, if we don't go up, I'll see you at Wembley. Like, you know, just that. And I think it started, everyone around started then in their mind kind of thing, if you know what I mean. So the more we spoke it, the more people started thinking, alright, maybe. And he said, I'm going to put you on the bench. You've played all season for me. I'm going to put you on the bench, and if I can get 10 minutes out, 10 minutes out. So the game's going on. It's like, I'm like buzzing. Like, no one was, it was only 10,000 there because it was COVID. Like, none of my family are there because I didn't know till the morning. I rang them all, and they all ended up having a massive party in my partner's, Sarah's sister's house. And they all had balloons and a big sign and all. Like, and like, I was like, I'm not going to play. Just, you might see me head on telly, I'll wave at you. You know what I mean? Like, with fat head, you wouldn't miss it, would you? And then it went to extra time, and he looked over at me. I'm running up and down touchline here now, you know what I mean? Actually, 3 of the lads came from Sheffield, 3 of my mates, close mates, and they're good lads, to be fair. They put a lot of effort into coming to my games when they can, do you know what I mean? So shout out to them as well. But he looked at me, he was like, the system went, do you reckon he could play the extra time? And like, you know, as footballers, I was like, in my mind, he had one more sub after me in case, so he could have took me off.
Yeah.
I said, yeah, just get me on there. Just get me on there. Played the first for 5th. I came on straight away, and the first thing I done, I ran at someone, and like they ended up, it was a foul, but I didn't get it. And I remember turning to the ref going, you fucking Bob Madley, I think it was, you fucking idiot, like, you know, the old school thing. What are you doing? Like, if you should be giving fouls. Next one, gave me the foul. I was like, oh, about time, blah blah blah. Second half comes, I get fouled, just edge of the box. It was in the box for me, it was in the box, went down, I win the penalty. I end up winning the penalty for the lads, do you know what I mean? After caning them, and I think me caning them hinted his decision a little bit. Mate, but I, honest to God, I get caned. I was getting death threats from Newport fans a lot saying I died and all. Like, honest to God, I felt contact, and if it was a sloppy tackle, you're going down.
I have to go down. If you don't, there's no point being honest, because if you go down, and I see like Carragher says it's not. I remember the English; they were pure like, oh, divers. No, it's
part of the game.
Winning. It's part of the game.
Yeah. As long as it's not stupid.
No, but you're winning a penalty for your team is part of the game.
Yeah.
For me, look, I know I don't want to get too much into it, because maybe you probably felt like on me handballed against Ireland. You have to do what you have to do to win for your team. Remember Suarez, the World Cup against Ghana, 100%. Stopped the ball. No, and then they missed. You have to do what you have to do. So no, you're fine. But so. Detra, what was that like for you getting Detra some of them fans? What were you just, was it going through your Twitter or what?
Yeah, but so then obviously the game ended, we ended up winning. So there's my point there, that I gave everything that year, and the manager said to me after the game, like, I said to him, I told you I'd play my part in this game.
Yes.
And that's the big thing in life, where if you just see the way you are now with what you're doing, and like that's why I reached out to you from minute one, because your attitude, and I watched it and I was like, you're right, just like, if you manifest life, it will come to you. And I done that through nothing short of just believing it and working hard in it, and that gave me that little bit of belief again in me football, and that, like, I got that bit of enjoyment again. And yeah, obviously the death threats came after, but no, I just laughed it off. I remember texting him on the back, we were on the bus, Sam Lavelle had his DJ deck, so the two of us with our medals, like, going, yeah, enjoy your night, like, do you know what I mean? Like, that doesn't, you know what I mean? Like, that's, and like, to be fair, they have every right, because it was a dodgy, you can watch it after, it was a dodgy, I had the picture framed and we had it down me falling, to be fair. But no, but that's the point, and I remember I done an interview after that, you'll probably find it on Twitter now, where I spoke from the heart after it, and I went kind of people, a lot of lads who I played with, like Brian Fenton, who I know and stuff, and messaged me afterwards saying, like, unbelievable, like, interview.
Yeah.
You probably have to go back a while now, but I just spoke and I just said, and I said all that stuff that I said, and I meant it, like, and in this life, if you give anything, you'll get it back, and I ended up then signing. I went back to Accrington then the year after. They gave me a 3-year deal, and in concept, you know, that them length of deals in them leagues don't happen. I remember everyone texting me going, 3 years, you lucky cunt, you know, all that kind of stuff, like. But Coley he's seen in me, like, I lost my way a little bit in between, and he's seen, I think, that I got that drive back, and that's where he gave me the long-term contract, and yeah, that was an unbelievable year, to be fair, man.
The one thing I like about that whole conversation, you spoke so brilliantly, bro, and so eloquently, and the one thing I got from that is why you did spend 14 years in England. Through all your hardships, not wanting to go in certain places, you had the mentality and you had a purpose, and you talked about being back home. Now, I'm not getting a bit of stick. Now, I said this already, yeah, because I always pick up my area, Brookfield, where I grew up, yeah, and this is a reason why I pick up my area. And don't worry, you rats that were talking, I know, I'm aware, don't worry, I'm going to get on to you, yeah, but you know, you remembered the 1-bedroom flat, you and your ma, and through all that struggle, it gave you that strength and presence to be like, I'm here, I'm getting through that. That's why I would rate what you were doing, Johnny. Like, Shane's still over there now, he's in England, he got married, he's playing, I think he's at Kidderminster now, he stuck it out. Before I even get into what I want to say, your mate, remember Neil Bourne, who you played with?
Yeah.
Where's he now?
He's at Tranmere.
So he's still playing?
Yeah, he's doing well, to be fair.
That's what I'm saying,
yeah.
There's lads who are still, like I'm saying, like
still keeping contact with me.
I remember a lad, I can't, Johnny, I'm sorry. What you just showed me there, yeah? This is the thing, when you leave your mother's house from 15, 16, to normal age 16, this is it now. What else are you going to do? Like you said, there's no education, there's no this, there's no that. So I want lads who, if you're in the same position as Johnny, you're lucky enough, you're talented enough, obviously you're going to go when you're a bit older. This is football's not all the glitz and glam. No, there's hardship. I think I've seen something on Twitter, because I don't really follow sports on anything, because they're my ops, obviously, yeah. So I don't like Harry Kane, I don't like any of his pictures. If I just hate Tottenham, yeah. But I've seen Højbjerg saying something like 95% of your football is failure. Yeah. It's like heartbreak and stuff. It's like 5% you get to enjoy. Yeah. Do you get me? 100%. So with all that you've been through, and then even being injured, and you know, your team getting, it's kind of back to the wall stuff. Do you know what I mean?
You're getting peppered all the time.
You're getting told you're getting relegated this season, but you're like, nah. You use that to rally you. You know what I mean? Like, another thing I like about you as well, right, is your determination, and I like that attitude that you have. I'm trying to find the fucking tweet, but I know what it was, right? You said you, relates to you going back. I'm going a bit ahead here, but this relates to you saying, you can't wait till you get back. You have a few people to show up.
Yeah, I had to get on to it a bit because I was getting in trouble.
I hear it. I hear it, but I just want to touch on that. So
that's why you come and find it.
What is the mood around you being home? Do you feel like that's pressure because you played in England and you're coming back and they're not that good, or what's the story there?
Listen, I am the massive, I know we spoke about League One before, and I'm a massive believer that I'm a big fan of League One. I'm always a fan of our own. Always. And yeah, I get that feeling, and like the thing with me is that fans have every right to be frustrated with players, with clubs. It happens all the time, whatever, right? And that tweet was about where I came back. Obviously, I've come back to Ireland. The people need to understand, right, that I came back to Ireland through choice of life. I came back for family reasons as well.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna. Another thing. Sorry, on my notes. So is it that obviously having your son was last year? Yeah.
Yeah. So my son was born a couple of months ago, and like he got a bit sick when not sick, but it was I'm hoping partner doesn't mind me saying, like it was a bit of a traumatic birth. They both got an infection. They both got a bit sick.
This is if I speak where we open up.
No, I know, but like it's her business.
Yeah, no, I hear it.
She said it as well. So obviously I'll say that to her as well. I don't think no details, but he went to the NICU for a little bit. for a week or two, and they didn't get out of hospital for, I think it was a week or 10 days. She was on antibiotics, he was. Now it wasn't, she was fine, she was just bad. It was a traumatic experience, really traumatic. And
I can relate to that.
And I remember after it thinking, like, I weighed up my life, and it's the first time where I was put in a position where my career and life didn't matter. And I sat down with Sarah, and I've always hummed at the idea of coming home anyway, and like being with family. I haven't seen my brothers grow up and all that kind of stuff. And we had a conversation. I said, listen, do you want to go home? And like she was kind of like, she was always worried that we got home, I'd end up resenting leaving. And I know she still thinks that now. And I watch Accrington every Saturday on the telly when they're on, she's like worried that I'm missing it. And like I miss the football over there, I can't lie. It's like you play against Derby, you play against the Sunderlands, the Sheffield Wednesday and all that kind of stuff. But for me, and that decision was easy. And she'll probably listen to this, and it was easy, it still is now. Like I'm delighted to go home. Now, the first few months, moving our life from there to there, signing for a new team, trying to get fit, I didn't know pre-season. So I moved home to Ireland, flipped my whole life upside down, had a pre-season new club who were expecting the world from me within a month. They weren't winning, they were losing. I had no pre-season when I signed, and I was supposed to have a pre-season, and I didn't get one because they needed me to play. I got injured weeks ago, but I wanted to try and help the team where I shouldn't have because I wasn't playing as well as I should, and they don't know that behind the scenes. And that's where when I done a tweet and I said it and I got off it, just so they know, they know. Like,
so this is the fans you're talking to? Or
not the fans. It's not our fans. As in, like,
it's the league.
It's just everyone.
You're not that good,
just a little thing that, listen, there's been a few things going on. My life's changed. We'll see in a few months. You know, like, do you know what I mean? That kind of attitude where you can have your say, but in a few months where they shut up and I shut you up, then kind of, you know what I mean? We'll see who'll have that last laugh. And to be fair, it's a bit childish for me because you're tweeting to people that don't mean that to you. They don't, not that they don't mean that to you, but you're trying to justify stuff too.
But Johnny, you care.
I'm emotional. When I lose, right?
Yeah.
And like, ask my partner, and I know every footballer say they care and they hurt. No. Like, I remember going into the new club, and I didn't really want to get into the new club because, like, obviously it's still ongoing. And I'm from minute one losing my head behind the scenes, as in, like, I'm fighting lads going, come on, like, you know that.
Because you know the standard.
Yeah, and so I'm used to that standard. So they don't see that side of me yet because I'm new. The club hasn't been winning. And I'm this big player that's come from England that they're expecting the world from minute one. Where in football, this is where it happens. There's a lot of things off the pitch, on the pitch that affect your performance. So that was just a little, okay, have your event, I can listen to it, but I'll have the last laugh, and I'm here to work. Like, I just, like I said, I'm getting into detail here now, but I just sorted my own, the off-season League of Ireland's coming. I have my own, I paid them serious money to train me for November, December. So I have my own little, you know what I mean? So this is kind of, it's a bit shit, but I'm having my own pre-season now when everyone's off. So this is me. I've had my summer last year. I'm flat out now till January when pre-season happens. And I give Bowes everything I have the way I gave Morecambe the same way, because I'm back home now. I have friends and family at these games. I have that close-knitness, and I signed for Bowes for a reason, not just to come home. People that say that I came home for the money, like, I'll say no, I took a pay cut from Accrington.
I know, but Bowes haven't got bread with that, so 100%
No, but it's not that they don't, it's that they don't, people don't, I'm on good, like I said, like, if you get paid to play football, you're on good money, in my opinion. That's my opinion. If you're getting paid to play football, it's money, because a lot of clubs in League One you can work as well, so it's good money. So I'd never disrespect any wage. I've come from when I've had zero to X amount to X amount to X amount. So money to me is not, like, never been my ambition. It's been a thing that I've needed to survive. And now I have a kid. It's a serious thing, but my decision to come home and play in Ireland was not motivated by that whatsoever. Hence, like, why would I? Like, all the lads in our league are working hard to get to where I just was. I had 2 years at Accrington, who finished 12th last year, and I walked away from that, where everyone else in the league would jump at half their wage probably just to get there to play where I'd just been. So that's where common sense and fans and football needs to come in, and people who know the game, who know football, and like, all that side of it will understand that. But back to the point, like, yeah, I took a pay cut to come back because I wanted to play in the League of Ireland when I was young and I was fit and I could leave a mark on it, and I loved the ambition that followed. They sold it to me. Now stuff has gone on since that where they sold stuff where it was different to what's happened, but I'm not one of them that would kick up a fuss. I'll just get my head down and work hard on there. But you know what I mean?
Yeah,
it's that like people don't, because they don't ask, they just see John's come back, he's played 300 games in England, 13 years, blah blah blah. They don't see that I've just been through, and it's no justification. I don't think there's any justification for, but why they haven't seen the best of me, that genuinely is a few reasons. Now I don't owe anyone fuck all. I know no one nothing. Both signed me for the length that they have for a reason, and I've earned that right for what I've done in my career. But they will get 100% from me, and I know while I'm here there will be success, because that's my mentality. That's what I'm going to bring to the club, if you know what I mean. But the thing in football is that what I'm getting carried away from is that there's so many pillars behind, especially in the lower leagues. You're not getting paid enough for the pillars that are behind players. So you might look at back all the way back to Dan Purdy. You don't know what was going on at that time. You just see the magic player that he was. But stuff happens where like even in your life that it takes your eye off the ball. And if you take your eye off the ball for a month, you can get left behind. Honestly, even a day. Like he could have trained with the first team once and had something going on and had a stinker, and they've gone, let's keep him away. You just don't know. That's where you're so cutthroat, and like obviously it's right in what you're saying, and infuriates when people get homesick. You just don't know people's backgrounds, and that's my big thing in football, where I used to be like that old manly thing where get on with it. Don't say what you're feeling. Shut the fuck up. You're playing football, you're getting paid. You should be lucky. You're blessed for what you do. You're not blessed. You worked hard and you sacrificed your mental health, your physical being, your family, your friends, your thing, to have that opportunity. And if you don't get the end goal, so imagine giving up your whole childhood and all your stuff, right, and then nothing out of it. Like, that's going to leave a mental scar. Like, you know what I mean? It must be hard for Dan, for you sitting on here and speaking about him, because I say deep down he has them regrets. So when people must say to him all the time, how did you never make it? Like, imagine
that must be hard to hear. That must be hard to hear. But it's one of, like I said, when I talk to footballers and with my friends, when we talk about who we played with and stuff, that's the one, because like I said, he and because of the time and these cameras and all, we kind of speed up, but that's the one that breaks my heart. Is like, how did you not? From what, like that potential?
Like, you asked him.
I'm trying to get him on. He won't. He's shy. He won't come on. I'm trying to get him on. It's like, I look at the Irish team now. I want to really touch on international football, which our career, but I don't have time for that really. But I always look at the state of the world. I think, do the FBI need to do more to protect you guys? Do you have that opinion? Like,
I think all of football needs more.
Yeah, just to protect. Like,
you're there's too many that don't make it. I'm going on a rant now. Again.
No, we need to do a part two. But before I get into the last couple of questions, because I like getting the best players, the best events and all. Just talk to us quickly about this business. You're what? Can you see me there?
Yeah. Point it at the.
I'll hold it.
Yeah. So you point.
So you get it going.
No, so talk about this. So what?
Tell me what it tastes like.
No, it tastes just.
Like water in a can.
It's water. Exactly. Tell us what the gig with it is, bro.
No, listen, like during COVID lockdown, me and best mate Mark and his brother Connor, we've always floated at ideas. You know, like ideas. His family have a big track record in shops and all, so we've always said ideas, and we just came across we're big on. We spoke about the environment. What's the biggest thing at the minute? Environment, plastic. Like what's going on with plastic? Going to every shop. There's cans of everything else, but there's no cans of water.
Okay.
Basically.
Yeah.
So we got together. Came up with this can of water, and it's I have some more in the car for you, the sparkling as well for you.
I
don't know if you drink sparkling water.
No, you're missing me dog.
Yeah, there you go. But yeah, so we just came to it, and it's took off. Like, it's gone really big. Like, we had a bit of investment there, and it's growing every week. That's turned into.
And is this life after football for you? Was like business?
No, it's just another thing. Yeah, but at the minute, football is my full thing. This is just some, but this is taken off as well at the minute. Like we've done we supplied a lot of festivals in the summer and all that stuff, and hopefully you'll see us everywhere in the future. We're 100% Irish owned and operated, so.
Love that. I like to get
support the Irish, you know.
Support around you here.
If anyone needs water, gives a shout.
So I want to ask you, this is just briefly touch on this. Yeah, do you have any plans to go back to England?
No.
Obviously you do your bit, so you're home now for
I'm raising my son.
is your thing now.
Yeah,
for now, yeah.
like my son's my priority now, and my partner, and the life my sister has 4 sisters. They all have kids. I have my family, and for me, his upbringing for me is my priority, and him being with friends and family. I've lived in England. We're lonely. Like me and my partner went over. It's grand just to a weekend. We go for dinners. We hang out with friends, but for him, he's my priority now, and his quality of life comes first, and he'll have a better quality of life in Ireland with just, I even think, schools, friends, family, lifestyle, the people. That's not disrespect to people over there, but just the life for me.
It's because as well, remember, you move around as well, so you don't know.
That's me in Dublin now for foreseeable, unless like Chelsea come knocking, I'll have to speak to them. Not money, but like there's nothing over there for me now that I can think of, unless there was like one of my friends got a manager's job, and it was like he was older and he wanted me to come in as a coach or something like that. But at my mind now is at home forever. I've lived away too long. I've missed my family, my partner's family, my friends. I've missed it too much. Like, and even being home now, it's been hard. Don't get me wrong. The first 2 months I was like,
this is a question I want to ask you. What do you find the difference in tempo with? Obviously, you played League 1, 2. That's where you mainly played. What do you find the difference with that and League 1? What's difference or stuff?
Yeah, you know, Irish lads are all like give everything. So the tempo in all League 1 is really good, and the thing, and the quality every week in, week out, from the first position team to the bottom place team in League 1, League 2 is better. As in like the quality throughout each team is better. So you got your Rovers, Bows, Pats, like all like you know them teams from Dogs here, and then like there's a few that the budgets are just completely different, you know. So it's shocked me a bit how good it is. But I'm looking forward to it. I've seen a lot of, even like when I play games now, I don't play it as a football. I know what the other team's playing, and like even watching games now in League 1, I see a lot of areas where I can cause problems for other teams. So I've watched all the games now, even since I've been injured, and every game I played in, and like I'm really good at adapting. Like my biggest strength in football, I would say, is adapting to my circumstance. And in a game for the first 15 minutes, I might look, fucking hell, what's he doing? And then all of a sudden, I'd figure it out, like you know, where the weak link is, or where who I'm playing against is weaker. So that's where I'm at the minute. But no, it's good. It shocked me. Jack Brown told me before I come back that, or Graham, one of them anyway, I don't know who was that. It shocked me how good it is.
Yeah, remember, do you know Brandon Mealy?
Yeah.
He played with Newcastle obviously, but he went down before he signed for Rovers. He was playing at Bluebell. Yeah. My friend Jamar is down there. I think Blair was there as well. But he was saying like Brandon was just too quick for everyone. He was two steps ahead. Yeah. Where he's giving a true ball where you should be making a run, no one's making a run. Do you know what I mean? Like
that's the problem though.
He's wanting the ball too touch, you're taking the next. Do you know what I mean? Like so. That did you find that when you were first playing?
I haven't played enough yet.
And a part 2 question I want to ask. Okay, you haven't played enough yet, so I'm speeding up here a little bit because I want to get these good bits in.
Yeah.
Have you played the Dublin Derby yet? Have you played against Rovers?
No.
You haven't played? No. I'll be going to that game.
Yeah, get your tickets. Any game you need tickets.
Shout me, my brothers are heavy Rovers fans, so
already?
That would be booing you now.
They're the ones tweeting me for fuck's sake.
I'm having a double family, I'm sorry, but
I can take it, so you're alright.
We'll get into it now, so this is the fun few questions. So who's the best player you've played with? DDSL football, start with first.
Played with? Berkey.
So who you played with, yeah? Why is he the best?
Berkey's the most naturally gifted.
Yeah.
Naturally gifted.
What a Bordy?
For me, yeah. Well, I only played with
I'd say Berkey was more technical than Purdy.
No, yeah, but Purdy used to like, I don't know what it was, but he was
very clever.
Yeah, he was. No, them two were like so similar. But I would just go Berkey because I hate Crumlin and I can't lie. And we used to fight each other all the time. Yeah. And Berkey had that little, I don't know about Purdy, I don't know that side of him, but Berkey was a little, he fucking lived in town all the time.
I think the first game I watched, he played for.
And we still like that now, I heard.
He got sent off.
Yeah.
Smashed him in the corner.
We used to fight, we fought each other in training, like boxed the head off each other.
Yeah.
This is what it is, isn't it?
So, okay, best player you played with in England then?
I had my 1 to 11 Rodolphe as well.
Yeah, we'll get that in the end.
Best player, I don't know. Nzonzi was unbelievable, man. Probably Dunny. I'd have to say David Dunn. Yeah, just for I played the players once off, but I like to pick someone that I spent a couple of years with.
Yeah. So who's the best player you played against?
I like this one. Oh, DDSL.
DDSL, yeah. First, and then go England.
Goody. You.
Oh, hard. You were shy.
I wanted to see what you said.
Fast.
Hardest player I've played against. Oh my god. I'm going to kill your time here. Oh.
We're all right with this one, isn't it? It's just that one.
But that one can only shoot like 2 hours.
Yeah, no, but how long for sure?
We're literally coming up to 2 hours.
Alright,
man. Hour and 35 minutes in.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's my bad.
No, I can't pick anyone from yous. Probably.
That's what I
never
think.
really, yeah, but I always play good against yous. I know we use Beatles.
You play central midfield against us.
Yeah.
So you would have played against Shane, Dara, and sometimes
Dara was with us and then he went to yous.
Dan Devine.
Dan Devine was
good.
good.
Yeah, you would have played in the middle.
I'll probably say Rob Maloney.
Oh, Rob, yeah.
Yeah, I have to. Because he's the only one that would match that extra bit of... No, I'm not saying none of you.
No, I hear it.
He'd match it and then he'd top you that extra bit.
Yeah.
But, yeah, probably Rob.
So the best player you played with, against in England then?
Pogba.
Fuck off. You
Look, I knew that I'd get you going. My age group was the same as Pogba, so we played United all the time.
Yeah, he's 93.
Yeah. So, like, no, there's a few here. So I never played Pogba senior level, but honest to God, as a young lad, him, Ravel, and Ryan Tunnicliffe in the middle, because our younger age was good, so we used to give them a good game. They had Lingard, Pogba, all against us, but he was a joke. Senior level, played Arsenal a few weeks. Iwobi was a joke. I know you'll probably laugh.
No, I'm watching him now.
Yeah.
I'm watching him. He plays centre mid now. Lampard's playing centre mid. He's sick now. But what was when he was first coming through, he was good. Fans just got on him though.
Yeah.
Fans got on him.
He doesn't score or assist enough, I get that.
Yeah.
But he was a joke. Played him twice, he was good. Delafeu was a joke. Lowe's and Jolinton, when we played Newcastle a couple of years ago, I know he's gone, he's unbelievable now for Newcastle.
Centre mid now.
Yeah. Well, he played up front and scored 4 against us, like, and everyone was slagging him. I was like, hell, I was like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But there's loads of them, like, the Prem players are a joke. But Delafeu, Ireland under 19s, that game we played.
I wish I could touch on Ireland, but probably the part 2 will touch on Ireland. But yeah, Delafeu, we played with Ireland, yeah. Unbelievable.
And Morata played in that game as well, then too. Unbelievable.
Like, jeez, Johnny, you've had a good career, bro.
Don't
So your best 11, what do you want to go for? DSL again? Do you have it?
I don't have a DSL best 11, but I've got a few of them.
Go England.
No, this is just
in general, who you playing with?
So I had Darragh Ray in goal. He's at Brentford now in goal, playing every week.
Oh, you play with him?
Yeah, he's at Blackburn with me, yeah. I've been out with him, I know that.
What formation are you going with first?
I'm going 4-3-3.
4-3-3.
But a tight 3 to get the forwards in, because I don't want to put wingers in.
Right, what?
I have Mason Holgate, right back.
Everton,
yeah. Darren Lennon, because my boy, and he's a good defender. Johnny Egan, best captain I've ever had.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Irish now,
Unbelievable captain, and nicest fella on earth. Martin Olsen.
One of the twins.
Yeah. Martin, he played Prem his whole life, good. And Zonzi, sitting, played for France and all. I remember he got bombed from Blackburn. He came and trained with the 21s every week, because we used to go up and down, and like, he was like next level. I think he ended up going to Sevilla.
Yeah, he went to Sevilla. That's right. He's a World Cup winner as well.
Yeah.
With the French team.
Honestly, God, man, like, different planet. Dunny, Tom Carney.
From captain in the championship, but he's not playing now.
Yeah, he comes in and out, doesn't he? I've gone Sean Maguire up top because he's my boy, and you know what I mean? Got to stick to your boy, and he's a legend, goal scorer as well in the League of Ireland. Gone Jordan Rhodes beside him.
Championship baller.
And I had Pedersen and Berkey on the left because I wanted to try and get.
You have to pick one of them, Broski. Broski, you have to pick one of them.
Nah, if it's a must-win game, I'll probably go Pedersen, but because Pedersen was just a joke as well.
Looking at them players, Johnny, I can see why, like I said, you know what, there's nothing. Because even Tony Cruz, he's about to retire next season apparently, and it's like, he's only 22.
I know, yeah.
So he's like, I won a World Cup, 5 Champions Leagues, play for Real Madrid, play for Premier League, play for my country.
Yeah.
What have I got then? So with you, obviously, not them achievements was like, I've lived the dream of going to England, playing league football, playing in stadiums, making money, driving a nice car, whatever, you've done it, so I understand. So this is the last question from you, and then I have a segment. What I'm doing is one question only, where my guests get to ask me a question, and I have to answer it, no matter what.
No matter what?
No matter what, I have to answer it. Anything, bro.
No,
anything. I know my daughter's here at the minute. You're anything with me. I'll be asking you about
exactly.
But just your
honestly as well.
No, people know me. That's honesty, right? But just your final question for you is, what you've been through in England and your career and life. What advice you have for any young lad looking to, be where you were? What advice would you have for them with like mental strength and perseverance and stuff like that? What advice would you have for them?
If I keep it short and sweet, it's like football's a great game. I love football. It's great. As a job, it's really hard, and we need more people talking about how hard it is and how it gives you the best days of your lives and it gives you the worst. And you need to look after yourself mentally more than physically, because it will get you down. I don't know one footballer, my best mates, that hasn't been through a bad time, as in like mentally, like struggling, where contemplating just giving it up, like football, you know what I mean? And even though they're playing on good money, championship, good money, but it's tough. Like, people go through things in football, and speak to someone, get help for it. Not get help as in much, but lean on your family, lean on your friends. If you don't have any, like, it's okay to take a step back from it, to go again. Do you know what I mean? It's okay, like, to look after yourself, because you're not going to give your best version of yourself on a football pitch if you're not right. And give it your all. If you're gonna do it, ride the downs for the ups. Do you know what I mean? And don't half-ass it. Give it your all. And if you don't make it and you gave it your all, like, at least you can look at yourself, and you hear the old cliche, like, give it your all, like, and all that stuff. But just work hard and try and enjoy it on the way, because it's a tough industry, and it's the best job and sport in the world, but it's the hardest to stay in, because everyone in the world wants your job. Everyone. And not everyone makes it. And stay in school as well and do a bit of something else. So if it doesn't work, have something else as well there, like, to fall back on 100%.
Johnny,
if you can.
Johnny, I appreciate you giving me your time first of all, and it's good speaking to you. It's like, I'll even though it's balls, I don't want my brothers to kill me, but I am sort of rooting for you to do well, and to show people, because I know what type of player I've played with you, played against you. I love people who mentally are tough upstairs, and I love listening to stories of people who come from hardship and they can get out of a situation and pattern their lives and show people from their areas that we have this situation, but with mental strength, toughness, belief, manifesting, all of that, you can get out of it. You know what I mean? This is why I brought my daughter here, because she's seen my journey, she's seen what's going on with my life, whatever, blah blah, and these conversations, and it's going to get bigger and bigger for me, I believe, with people like you coming on and sharing these stories, because I'm nothing without my guests, you know what I mean? So I appreciate that. So lastly, question for you.
You could have told me before I came.
No, but it's
you've done that on purpose.
It's all about authenticity. No. If you watch the other episode, everyone asks me a question. So don't ask me though. The first episode, first Dave asked me fear of failure, and then Nessa asked me that as well. So
no, I'm going something random here.
Alright, go ahead.
Oh, I don't know. Like, I want to start a bit of beef for you because you love it.
No, go ahead, bro. I'm here.
I don't know. Like, it's that's a tough question. Like, because you know your answer honestly. I'm gonna ask you about fear of failure. Then no, I won't do that.
Don't do that.
If you could change one thing about your personality to better yourself and your life, what would it be?
Right. So I listened to Shaq in a podcast. I think it was Full Send podcast. Shout out them, man. Very good. The guests at the and stuff, but he talked about getting off the sensitivity blinkers. So one thing about me, and I do this now, I even seen Cello, shout out Cello as well, he just dropped his tape, and he was just talking about like people who laughed at him and stuff. So I'm more always yes, I have a purpose, I want to do this for my kids, so they grow up. I tell this to my daughter all the time, I don't want you living 1% of what I lived. This is why I bust my ass, you know what I mean? That's why I brought her here to see what I do, you know what I mean? So I need to forget them people, because if I'm focused on to prove you right, I'm not focusing on my purpose then, because I'm doing things to please. I'm looking for validation. Do you get me? So that's the one thing for my personality. Like, yeah, it's good, I'm gonna laugh and this, that, and that, but there is a side of me where if I hear someone chatting, if I hear criticism, in a sense of like people who shouldn't be talking on me. I don't mind my peers because we're all on the same thing. Like to you, we play football, whatever. I don't mind these type because you know what they're talking about. But there's idiots that talk on my name. There's clowns that talk on my name. And I just, I'm trying to prove, I'll get an achievement. I'll be like, oh look now, laugh at me now. You know, that type of way. So if that's the one thing I can take away from my personality is sensitivity. Yeah. I'm a sensitive motherfucker, bro. And I need to stop because that will halt my progression. The bigger you get though, the more you're going to get. No, I say this to my missus every single day. The bigger we get, because I say this, yeah, when you're here with levels with people, this is where I'm getting praised now. I don't go here, this or that. Yeah. As soon as you start doing this, that's when they want to pull you back there. Because up there, there's what's it called? There's elite people up here, but there's only a few at the elite. But down there, there's a lot of roaches. Yeah. And they're trying to try and pull you down with them. You get me? So when you're at that level, everyone's loving you and praising you. But as soon as you start doing this,
Yeah, 100%.
So look, that's been
prefer
an amazing
not to,
episode. Guys, like, share,
not to speak.
subscribe, all that.
If I speak,
Always
I
look
am
at
in
this
big
fella
trouble.
water and stuff as well. Check
In
the
big
water in
trouble.
the car.
And I don't want to be in
We're
big
out.
trouble.
Cheers.
Turn me up, kid Spiral.